I have never ridden an electric bike like this before. What's up, Electroheads? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is Ailish and I am a builder, rider and reviewer of all things electric. Now, I've been doing this for about 5 years now, and I think it's fair to say that I've ridden quite a fair few offerings in the market. So when it does come to receiving an electric bike, I love it when something surprises me, when it looks and feels different, and this, the EBI Agile behind me, is certainly that. Founded in 2022 in Switzerland, they're a fairly new brand as electric bike companies go, with a mission to create a premium range of urban commuters. The result? A multiple award-winning electric bike with a very eye-catching product. The Agile is their flagship model, but as you can see, can be selected with either an aluminium or carbon frame and comes with either a step over or step through design, depending on your needs. I have the aluminium option today, so it weighs a touch more, but is also much lower in price. However, the front fork is carbon and overall can cater to a rider height between 165 to 190 centimetres and with a max load of 115 kilograms. There's some really interesting components included that I've actually not experienced before. The motor is from a Japanese brand and the gear shifter is wireless. I'll go more into that later. Even the battery is a new name for me, which is situated neatly behind the seat post. It's removable and EBI claims can deliver up to 62 miles on one charge. I will be revealing my real-world range review later in this video. The Agile comes with a chain drive, Schwalbe tyres on 27.5-inch wheels, integrated front and rear lights, suspension in the seat post, a colour display, mudguards, a pannier rack front and back, and 2 panniers to boot. There's loads of cool stuff to talk about here, but before I get into the thick of it and start doing things like the walkaround and the riding section, let's go back in time to see how this thing arrived and how easy it was to build. From the moment the bike arrived, I got that excited feeling in the pit of my stomach. EBI has gone to town with their presentation, and first impressions are great. Clean designs on the box, and it's sturdy to encase the bike for its journey. Open it up and that pop of red is killer. I adore that they have gone for eco-friendly packaging, not a cable tie or piece of foam in sight. The bike isn't lightweight, so if you do struggle, I'd recommend getting someone on hand to help you. Or if you've got a good Stanley knife, you could cut the box away. Inside you get 2 boxes for the build. This one here has the additional parts for the bike, like the display, the pedals, through axle and keys for the battery. This other box comes with the instruction manual, charger, toolkit, reflectors, bell, you name it. You also get 2 pannier bags, which is such a good freebie from EBI. The charger arrived with a 2-pin plug, so good thing I've got a converter. As I get the battery on charge, I get to work on the bike. First, I install the seat post and then the handlebars. I noticed the stem and headset aren't factory tight, so they did need adjusting. Next is the front wheel, which is simple enough to do. If you haven't got a bike stand like me, then you can flip the bike over to make alignment with the brake caliper easy. Secure with the through axle and tighten. Pedals are also very easy, just a simple screw and tighten with a wrench. Then I got to work fitting the brakes. I will say you do need to strip the handlebars of its components to be able to put the brakes on, so there was a lot of extra loosening and tightening for this section. But after some time spent aligning, I got there. And then, to finish it all off, the battery, and job's a good one. One thing you need to do is charge the derailleur before use. There is a cable that comes in this box, and although it arrives with some juice, you want to top it off for seamless gear shifting for your first ride. First up, let's just talk about this striking red paint. I mean, there are multiple options of colours that you can go for, but I really wanted to go for a punchy colour, and I think this looks so good out of the box. As I mentioned, the founder is Swiss, but he's also a graphic designer by trade, and you can really see that creative mind of his coming through in the presentation of the bike. You can actually customize your bike with different colorways. So this right here is a frame cover, which is swappable. So you can match the bike with your outfit of the day, she says, wearing absolutely nothing in resemblance to the bike. But I love how minimalist this looks, with a lovely punch of colour and design features. I mean, in terms of wiring, there is minimal up on the handlebar. Obviously, you're going to need some for the brakes and for the light itself, but that is it. The version I've gone for, I've got a step-through frame, which makes it easier to mount. So if you're laden with cargo, then this is very helpful. If you're wearing a skirt, then this is also very helpful. But also if you're somebody that has maybe mobility issues or don't want to swing their leg over every time, this is also very useful. The battery is positioned behind the seat tube just to give this lovely, clean, triangular form here. No kind of bulkiness on the middle of the frame. I really like the display as well. What's nice about it is after 15 minutes, the bike does turn itself off. So that's great for saving battery, but it's not busy, it's nice and clean, you know exactly where to get your information. You're not darting your eyes around whilst you're on the road being like, oh gosh, okay, what do I need to know? It's all clear. Over here you have your range. There's also a gauge here as well to tell you exactly how much torque your motor is pushing out, and all these extra little details down here as well. Having both a rear and front pannier rack is just a dream for people who need to have a lot of cargo on their bike. You can put the panniers on the back here, 1 and 2. You could put 1 on the back and 1 on the front, 2 on the front. And it really doesn't affect the balance of the bike, I've found anyway, whichever setup you choose to go for. But one thing I will say is this bike isn't the lightest. Obviously, if you want to go for the lightest option available, you can go for the carbon fibre frame, but the fact that this is aluminium but does also have a carbon fibre front fork, as well as actually having the battery at the back here, what happens is when you lift it up, it's sort of, the weight just goes down to the back, so it's actually quite imbalanced when you pick it up. The centre of gravity isn't there, so I would say realistically, this isn't a bike that you want to be taking up and down a lot of flights of stairs because it's not lightweight by any means. So if you're somebody that does live up on maybe the 2nd or 3rd floor, doesn't have a lift, that is something to consider. Remember, you can remove the battery as well, so that means that if you need to charge it separately and just take the battery up and leave the bike down on the ground floor, then that's something you can do. Depending where you live in the world, you get a top speed before the assist cuts out. You can of course go faster, but that is down to your own pedal power, but the Agile comes with 5 levels of assist to help you tackle differing terrain. Tour and Boost mode is generally where I hover. Auto is another mode that's available, which, surprise, surprise, will automatically adjust the level of assistance. A combination of detecting the torque applied through the pedals, plus the angle the bike is at, plus monitoring the speed, and the result is a mode where you, in theory, shouldn't need to make any tweaks. Just switch to auto and let the bike take command. The motor is mid-drive, meaning it's mounted to the centre by the cranks and is arguably the best placement due to the instant delivery of power, increased torque, and centre of gravity. This particular motor from Vinca has a mix of torque and cadence sensors. The benefit of a cadence sensor is you start to pedal and the sensor tells the motor to wake up and go. Whereas torque sensors will measure the exact amount of pressure you're putting on the pedals and tell the motor to give a measured amount of power. So this combo means a smooth and responsive feel, but also it helps with overall battery life. The EBI Agile comes with wireless shifting, which is something that I've never experienced before on an electric bike. So this is a first for me, and I've definitely got some thoughts on it. I mean, first and foremost, as I change up and down, you can hear it's pretty instant, but also it's pretty clunky as well. There is a bit of noise to it. So it's not the quietest shifting, but it certainly does shift quickly for it being wireless. I was really impressed with just how responsive the shifter is with the derailleur. Now, one thing to note as well is the shifter does come with a battery for a watch, but the derailleur doesn't. Now, it does arrive in the box half charged, but you do need to give it a charge up before you go out for a ride, just to make sure it's fully juiced up and ready to go, because actually on the first ride that I did to give it a test, I didn't realise that you needed to charge it. It does come with a wire. I should have probably read the instructions, but make sure you do this. And of course, this is something as well that it's just something you've got to remember with this particular bike. That's not common to have wireless shifters. So you need to be able to remember that wire. So say if you're going out on a tour with this bike across Europe, you do not want to forget that wire, or you might not be able to change your gears after a certain amount of time. Now, I don't know how long the battery lasts in the derailleur, but again, this is just something added that you need to remember for maintenance of your bike. Some of you may say this sounds like an unnecessary extra, but there is an argument here to say that because they eliminate the need for cables and housing, which can stretch, corrode and require adjustment, in the long term you can actually get more consistent performance as well as a cleaner look. But overall, I have been absolutely loving riding this bike though. I mean, it's just so smooth, it's so intuitive, it just feels great to ride. It's definitely been getting some looks from people as well. It looks good, it feels good, it can carry so much cargo front and back. I mean, of course there is a max in terms of weight, but in terms of it being a functional bike, like this is really functional. It's great for commuting. It's great if you want to go further and pack for the weekend. Because the battery itself, I mean, we'll go on to range shortly, but I've been impressed with the battery so far. Overall, it's a lot of ticks. It's time for the hill test, and I'm at my usual incline to see how this electric bike fares when it comes to tackling the hills. Now, I do need to say that this bike has been loaded up today. I have easily added about 15 kilograms to that, so let's just add that on to the total weight for this bike. But because it's mid-drive, I'm feeling confident for it. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it into boost mode, because that's what boost is made for, really. It's for those quick starts at the traffic lights to get you off, and also when you're tackling inclines. So I'm gonna put it on boost, and then I'm gonna see how it feels when we're in kind of like eco mode, just to give you an understanding of how much less power is being outputted by the motor. But first up, boost. Ready, rolling start, let's go. Barely doing anything, honestly. Just a little bit of pressure going through my legs to tell the motor, keep pushing me. I mean, I'm not having to do any deep breaths. This is all very relaxed. And this is the thing with electric bikes, is you can take on those hills that you look at and you grimace at, thinking, oh God, I'm gonna be a sweaty mess at the top of this. I mean, I can even converse with you so easily, barely out of breath, easy peasy. You can hear that motor's working hard as well. And I'm gonna go back down, and just to give you an idea of how it feels in that lower eco mode, where it's really holding on to that range, really being efficient with that battery, what happens with the power. Brakes, great. You know, got a fair bit of weight on this bike, but it's doing really well. Right, down to eco, rolling start, and let's go. Okay, I mean, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. Okay, yes, there is a bit more weight going through my legs, I will say that. But even coming up this hill in eco mode, there are some bikes where I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't even bother with eco mode. You've got to go up. But this is really reassuring to know that, you know, if you're doing a tour, you're doing a long journey, you're low on battery, you've got hills to climb, and you need to keep it in eco range, great, bring it. Honestly, just having that mid-drive makes such a difference. Okay, I'm a little bit more out of breath, but as far as hill climbs go in eco mode, that was wonderful. Time for the real world range results. The temperature has been around 20 degrees Celsius. I weigh 68 kilograms and have been riding fairly flat terrain with some inclines using mainly Tour, but with a bit of eco and boost mode here or there. And in total, I got just over 35 miles of range on one charge. Now, bearing in mind, in pretty much every single ride that I've done with this bike, I really made use of its panniers and was loaded up, which adds more weight and, of course, can affect range. So I've been really impressed with this range, and that is all down to the smart tech on this bike that can gauge how much power you're putting through your legs and responds with the necessary assist with the finest tweaks, so you're maxing out the battery's range. Now, I could really see myself taking a second battery for tours with this bike and being able to cover ample distances each day. With an electric bike like this that comes at a premium, of course you are going to expect some standards. Now, EBI, they've made sure to pass the ISO, Germany TUV and European Union testing and certification. Now, those first two, the ISO and Germany TUV, they aren't mandatory. They didn't need to do that, but EBI want to make sure that their customers are feeling as protected and assured as possible. So they've spent money to pass these tests. They've gone the extra mile to make sure that they have top tier safety standards. And I think for an electric bike brand, that is so important, particularly in this day and age where there's a lot of vilification in the media about how unsafe electric bikes can be. Sure, the cheaper, unregulated ones are at risk, or the DIY builds where you're buying random batteries off the internet, not ones that pass the test like these. But what about support once you've bought the bike and perhaps you might come across an issue? Well, first and foremost, EBI are making sure to get affiliated stores across the locations where they're able to sell. For example, being able to go to a place where the team knows the bike, understands the bike, and are able to get the proper parts for the bike just means that you're able to stay on the road for longer. In fact, I actually visited the affiliated London store. So this is Forbidden Cycles. They're in Wandsworth. And I just popped in to say hello and see what they thought of the bike. And at that time, I also got them to just take a look at the bike as well, because that's what it's all about. Because there's nothing worse than buying an electric bike and then a store that you go to get it looked at, they look at it and they go, oh, we don't know what that is, we don't work with that. That, my friends, is how you will very quickly have to get a second bike. But also I love how EBI are making sure that if you're not so au fait with battery care, in the instruction manual they give a very detailed and easy to digest description of how you look after your battery, making sure not to leave it on a certain charge if you're not using it, to make sure it doesn't go below 10%, all these kinds of things that, you know, the standard customer probably wouldn't know. So it's really important that they're covering that. This is a brand that are set up for longevity. They have all the right components in terms of making sure they're giving you a safe bike, making sure that there's stores out there so you can get your bike fixed, and giving you the support you need to make sure that you stay on the roads, so that you aren't buying cheap and buying twice, that you are, of course, making an investment, but making sure that this thing lasts for you as well. You look after the bike, it'll look after you, and if there are any issues, well, you know that you've got support. And take it from me, I have seen what's coming up for EBI. I've taken a look at what's in the pipeline for them when I went over to Frankfurt a couple of months ago to Eurobike 2025 to see what they've got coming up, and it's very exciting. Their bikes are slowly becoming not just a tool, but a companion. So make sure to check out their ever-growing range at ebibike.com. I'll make sure to drop a link down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Let me know your thoughts on the EBI Agile, and I'll see you for the next one.